Good morning, children. Hope you all are doing well. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the condition of women and the lower caste people before 200 years ago, and about some social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Ishwarchand Vidyasagar who worked tirelessly to remove the social evils. Now, let's continue the chapter. When the first school opened for girls in mid 19th century, most people remained doubtful about sending girls to school. They feared girls would get corrupted if they were allowed to move out of the school to study. People also worried that once educated, girls would refuse to do any housework. But the efforts of reformers like Vidyasagar to promote education of girls were not completely in vain. Many women began to be allowed to study but at home. Some reformers, such as Mumtaz Ali, reinterpreted verses from the Quran to support the education of women. In the later part of the century, schools for girls were established by the Arya Samaj in Punjab and Jyotirao Phule in Maharashtra. Now, the time has came when women started raising their voice against the discriminated behavior of society towards women. The Begums of Bhopal also encouraged education among Muslim women. They found a primary school for girls at Aligarh. Begum Ruqayya Shekhawat Hussain started schools in Patna and Calcutta for Muslim girls. Many women began to write and publish their critical views on the condition of women. By the 1880s, Indian women began to enter universities. Some of them trained to be doctors, some became teachers, and so on. Tarabai Shinde, a woman educated at home at Pune, published a book Stri Purush Tulna, in which she compared men and women on the basis of differences they have. Okay. Next is Pandita Ramabai. Pandita Ramabai was a great scholar of Sanskrit, felt that Hinduism was oppressive towards women, and wrote a book about the miserable lives of upper caste Hindu women. She founded a widow's home at Pune to provide shelter to widows who had been treated badly by their husbands' relatives after the death of their husband. Her women were trained so that they could support themselves economically. Okay. By the end of the 19th century, women themselves were actively working for reform. They wrote books, edited magazines, founded schools and training centers, and set up women's associations. From the early 20th century, they formed political pressure groups to push through laws for female suffrage, the right to vote, and better health care and education for women. Some of them joined various kinds of nationalist and socialist movement from the 1920s. And nationalist leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru promised that there would be full suffrage for all men and women after independence. However, till then they asked women to concentrate on the anti British struggles. With the growth of women's organizations and writing on these issues, the momentum for reform gained strength. People challenged another established custom, that of child marriage. बच्चे, at that particular time, child marriage was very common. Most of the girls married off at an early age of 8 to 12 years. Yes, 8 to 12 years. This was the most common and most dangerous social evil of that particular time because it destroyed the whole life, the whole dreams of girls. Okay, there was a number of Indian legislatures in the Central Legislative Assembly who vowed to make a law preventing child marriage. In 1929, the Child Marriage Resistant Act was passed. According to the act, no men below the age of 18 and women below the age of 16 could marry. Subsequently, these limits were raised to 21 for men and 18 for women. In recent past, you have listened in news that government is planning to increase the minimum age of marriage for women from 18 to 21. It's just a plan now. Okay. And you know what? Even today, over 20% of girls in India are married below the age of 18. Okay. Next is demand for equality and justice. By the second half of the 19th century, people from with the lower caste began organizing movement against caste discrimination and demanded social equality and justice. The lower caste movements that took place in almost all parts of India did not go unnoticed. Ghasidas, who came from a low caste, worked among the leather workers, organized Satnami movement to improve their social status. Sri Narayana Guru. Sri Narayana Guru was another great social reformer of South India. He born in Kerala and belonged to a Ijwas caste that was considered as an untouchable low caste. He worked hard for the emancipation of the oppressed classes. He proclaimed the ideals of unity for his people. He strongly believed in one caste, one religion, and one God to all mankind. He constructed many temples in which all castes were allowed to enter. That's it for today. We will continue this in the next lecture. Till then, go through whatever I have taught you. Thank you and God bless you all.